How was Chris's Friday?
No, it was fun. I knew I was going to be a little bit later. My wife got home a little bit later, and I was under strict orders. We had to finish The Boys before I could go record.
Don't say anything.
I will not.
I want to get into the comics.
Oh, don't do that.
Why not?
Don't do that.
I've heard they're good.
No, the show is great. The comics are garbage.
Really?
I mean, the comics are Garth Ennis. Anything Garth Ennis is garbage.
I don't.
What are we talking about?
I don't
The
know
Boys.
comic writers.
Oh, yeah, The Boys.
The show is fantastic. The comic is fucking garbage.
I don't.
Don't get Josh started on comics.
I just really don't like the concept at all.
I mean, the concept is fine. The source material for the comics was fucking just gross.
I mean, the concept is gross.
Isn't the concept supposed to be like
Well, the concept's supposed to be gross.
deconstructing superheroes?
Yeah.
Well, reconstructing, as in
Deconstructing.
yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of deconstructing that isn't really self-aware. I don't know.
As I said, the show is great. The comic is just Garth Ennis jerking himself off like, look, superheroes are stupid, and I'm proving it.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's a difference between deconstructing something with love and deconstructing something with hate. I just get this weird feeling from The Boys that it's not deconstructed from love.
The show is done with love. The comic is not. The comic is done maliciously.
Okay, maybe.
The show is Kripke, the guy that did Supernatural. It's Eric Kripke.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's
maybe.
Great.
Thank you for coming to our intro to Star Wars every week forever.
Thank you for coming to The Boys every week forever.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
I really enjoyed the show, and I couldn't do that forever. Jesus.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. We're on our second rotation watch of Revenge of the Sith. How are we feeling? Ben, how was your watch?
Oh, I have much to talk about.
Ooh. Chris, how was your watch?
It was fine. I'm dead inside, and I have nothing to talk about.
Glad we're all coming here from a place of joy and love.
I have a ton of notes as always because I'm still doing all the special features. I will say though, there is a substantial drop in quality on the special features from episode 2 to episode 3. I have a theory that George kind of was like, oh, this trilogy's over. Somebody else do this. I'm not going through all that effort.
Oh, what? There wasn't like an hour-long documentary on C-3PO's secret life or something?
No, but there was an hour and 15-minute documentary on one 1-minute sequence and everything it took, including like catering and stuff like that, which was great. I appreciated it, especially since it was a Rick McCallum baby, which
sweet Rick McCallum.
I hate everything.
Sweet. You can't hate Rick McCallum.
You can't hate Rick McCallum.
Speaking of, Rick McCallum is known as the Rickmeister by George, so from here on out, I feel like we need to name him the Rickmeister.
No!
Oh, no.
I have... Oh, please go ahead.
No, we gotta... No. We haven't established it. All of our episodes are like an hour. What's the minimum length on a podcast? We should really just wrap this up now. I mean,
Chris really doesn't feel like putting up with our shit today.
We've already jammed the fucking Rick McCallum, that Rickmeister. I can't deal with the Rickmeister on top of everything else.
Well, that'd be the last time I talk about Rick McCallum for a long time.
Well, now I'm sad.
Are we all gonna have like? So Josh's thing is gonna be Rick McCallum all the time.
Don't.
My
Don't
thing
even.
is gonna be pod racing.
Oh my god, I'm so
Because
tired
pod
of
racing is great. Pod racing is the best thing about Star Wars.
You know, I started out ironically hating pod racing because of the idea that they added so much to the DVD, and now I just genuinely hate pod racing. Just like wholeheartedly hate pod racing. Because there hasn't been an episode you haven't fucking mentioned it.
You're welcome.
I mean, it's been your only consistent bit. Like, we lost the name bit after a while, but the pod race bit has fucking kept going. Like, it's almost fucking impossible that it could still be going. But it is.
So I have corrections to make.
Oh?
Last week I mentioned that George in no way brought back up the purple lightsaber to Samuel L. Jackson until it was on screen. I learned in this watch through of the special features that he did. He showed him a test shot of the purple lightsaber and then said, I don't know, we're probably not going to use it. And then,
God damn.
and then the first time he saw it was on screen.
George
The other one
Lucas
was
just a piece of shit to Samuel L. Jackson, allegedly.
Allegedly. No. The other one was, I mentioned the lava river very briefly in the episode 3 podcast from last rotation, and how that got all fucked up in the film. I was reminded because of that hour and 15-minute documentary about one scene, that's just before, or this is, the lava scene is right after the scene that's the 1 minute. What happened was they filmed, the actual piece was about 30 feet wide by 50 feet deep, and then went like another 30 feet down, like vertically and horizontally, and then like deep as in the lava that they put in for the effects. So what happened was they filmed it from one side, and for the coming down scene, and this is also, I assume, I don't know this for a fact, I think it's also why Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of switch positions while floating on top of the droids, so that they kind of come around to one side. Because George looked at it and said, nah, I want it from the other side. Essentially, he had envisioned it from a different perspective from the mini that they had put up for the lava river. So it was an easy enough fix, they thought, and they just reversed the flow on screen, essentially. It's a little more intricate than that, but it's not too much more intricate. And then 2 days went by, and it got to dailies, which is where George comes in and reviews certain things, and he kind of pointed out that the waterfall on the other side was now going upwards. Like, it was a small corner waterfall, but like it was flowing upwards rather than down, and that had to get fixed, and the poor CGI artist was very embarrassed about that. But I would contend that that CGI artist was working the best that he could with a very unreasonable director.
Allegedly.
But yeah, the special features, I have notes. But you could definitely tell that this was like, this isn't my baby anymore. I'm kind of done making the prequels. I'm not going to put all of the effort I did into it.
It really does. It really does read as like, no, I'm gonna shit these out, and then like 10 years from now, I'm gonna sell them to Disney. Like, not my fucking problem anymore.
Hindsight's 20/20.
I will mention that the script wasn't written when they started making sets and doing concept art. Like, there were sets being built without the script being fully written.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Our friend Rick McCallum said it ended up working out because then we could hyper-focus on small things that he told us. And, of course, Rick McCallum is right, the Rickmeister. But,
Wait.
yeah.
Our friend Rick McCallum.
Friend of the show, Rick McCallum.
Friend of the show.
How frequently do we correspond with Rick McCallum?
Oh, you know, I went to high school with him. It's fine.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
We do weekly Zoom calls. You know, we just, you know, we're on the Christmas card mailing list.
Keep in touch when we can.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's difficult, but I can't go too long without
I've
talking to
gotten a
Rick.
bit busy, so I don't reach out as much as I should.
Yeah. Rick's a little clingy, but he's a good guy.
Fucking Christ.
He's so clingy that he moved to the Czech Republic to live a
Yeah.
sheltered life entirely off the grid.
Yeah, like it's fine.
His
Like
Czech
sometimes.
girlfriend who became his Czech wife.
Yeah.
He's the Brock Lesnar of movie producers. He just moved so far out that nobody can get a hold of him unless he wants them to get a hold of him.
Oh my god.
I am completely and utterly convinced throughout not just the opening of this movie, but consistently throughout this entire movie, Obi-Wan just has a death wish.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I know last time we talked about this episode, we talked about how Obi-Wan's just like, nah, Anakin, just go get Palpatine, just fucking leave me here to fucking die. And Anakin's just like, no. But like Obi-Wan offers to go fight Palpatine, who Yoda contended with on equal ground. Like Obi-Wan didn't want to be alive throughout this entire movie.
Well, he didn't want to fight his best friend. Allegedly.
He also should have died to Dooku if the laws of physics worked right in Star Wars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That fucking sliding platform. God damn it.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
It's always read as weird to me, but this was the first time it was laugh out loud funny to me. That's actually true of this entire movie. This time around, things were way funnier to me than usual.
Yeah.
This podcast has ruined Star Wars for me. I can't watch Star Wars without laughing hysterically at most things now. Like,
I mean, to be fair, laughing at things is better than being angry at things.
Chris,
I got
this is only
3
our
more
second-
movies before I'm angry at things again.
This is only our second go around.
I know. All right,
We have
it
our
happened
entire
fast.
lives to look forward to.
God, I'm gonna be Obi-Wan in a few months. I'm gonna be Episode 3 Obi-Wan by the end of next year.
Oh,
This-
God.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll go fight Palpatine. Fucking.
It's fine. You'll just own a bar for Obi-Wan cheers.
But
It'll work out fine.
I honestly believe that Obi-Wan just gets so checked out. By the end of the movie, he's like, fuck it, I'll just hang out on the desert planet. I don't even care anymore.
Ugh.
And on a similar note to that, so they're divvying out the kids.
What the fuck are you talking
They're
about?
divvying out the
Damn
kids at the end. And fucking so fucking Bale is like, yeah.
You make
Me
it
and
sound like they're playing poker over the kids.
No, they're
At best,
distributing
at
the
best.
children. They're distributing the children of the genocidal maniac. And Bale's just
God.
like, yeah, me and my wife always wanted to adopt a daughter. So he literally just comes home with a kid. No heads up. Just like, hey, honey, I'm home. Then Obi-Wan rolls up on Tatooine. And it's just like, here's a fucking child. Have fun. And we wonder why fucking Uncle Owen can't stand Obi-Wan.
It's even better because the last time that Owen saw Anakin, it's like, hey, so I'm bringing you this kid. It's the kid. Hey, you remember that guy that showed up here and just kind of like crashed on your couch for a couple of days and murdered a bunch of Tusken Raiders? Yeah, it's his kid. It's yours now. Here you go.
That guy who just showed up and your mom, your new stepmom just like happened to die that same week, and then he just like he shows up, buries a body in your yard, and then cries.
Hey,
a bunch.
remember the worst week of your life?
This is the result of that.
So, 2 things. Both of them have nothing to do with special features. Both of them. So, I get the feeling Bail Organa just wanted a daughter so bad that he didn't really care about the ramifications of having a daughter. Because, like, Yoda literally says we need to split them up so that they can't be found by the Empire. And Bail Organa's kind of like, I'm a senator. I'm going to keep working for them. But, like, I really want a daughter, without even thinking one thought about what that would mean for Leia if they did look into it. There's literally camera footage of him going to the Jedi Temple and losing his shit. And it's obvious. It makes Bail look like an asshole.
I feel like that's more of a hiding in plain sight type of deal, though.
I guess.
Because, like, the last place they would be looking for one of the children is... I mean, also, Anakin is blissfully unaware of the children. I don't believe the Emperor's aware of them until later.
That's the thing that's kind of always unclear.
That's the other thing, and I really hate that I had this thought. This was the worst part of the watches through, and keep in mind I had to watch 2 days of special features.
The collective oh no from me and Chris.
So, because of the new canon...
Don't do it to me.
How do we know for a fact that Luke and Leia aren't Force babies?
What do you mean?
You mean the new canon that they've backpedaled on already?
Yes.
Wait,
How do we know for a fact they aren't Palpatine Jesus babies?
Because Padme literally gave birth to them?
So did Shmi.
Yeah, but Padme literally fucked Anakin?
Well, yeah, we know that, but also we need to consider that Anakin was barely on Coruscant for like 2.5 years.
Josh, don't do this to me.
I know, I really fucking hate it as well.
I feel like that is a huge stretch, and I'm going to just say absolutely not.
It's
just
not like,
because I don't want it to be a thing.
It's not a thing. I want to make that clear. It's not a thing. You can't even it's not Valorum or any of the other conspiracy theories we've come up with that are totally plausible. This is...
Like Obi-Wan and Ben Quadranero.
Well, that one was disproven.
It wasn't disproven.
It was disproven.
Disagree, but continue.
But it is... I hate the fact that was a thought that came into my head because of this new canon.
I hate the fact that that's a thought that came into your head, too.
Same.
But that was my big, oh, fuck, I hate this moment of the week.
I feel like you do this to yourself every week.
I mean, in the interest of fairness, I didn't go looking for this one.
Are you sure?
It just occurred to me while I was watching the film.
I feel like on some, like, subliminal, masochistic level, you do it to yourself.
I mean, yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, I didn't go... we talk so much about Immaculate Conception of Anakin that it's just there in the forefront of my brain all the time.
Hold on. You're the one who keeps bringing up Anakin's
No, that's not
Conception.
fair. Chris brings it up all the time as well.
Either way, my hands are washed of Anakin's Immaculate Conception.
I mean, I sure hope someone washed their hands after the Immaculate Conception.
Okay, we need to change the subject. Steven Spielberg did direct parts of this movie, I found out.
Oh?
Yeah, apparently George was very hands-off with Order 66, so he brought in people that he trusted to direct small parts of it. It's a lot like what he did with Geonosis, where he was like, hey, CGI artists, go nuts, we'll decide what to keep. Except this time it was like, hey, all my friends, come in, let's work on... you guys work on Order 66 while I do more important things like General Grievous. So, the thing that Steven Spielberg is credited with a lot in this movie is working on the death scenes of Order 66, specifically how the cameras work around their deaths. Like, he was the one that decided when Aayla Secura dies, it would purposely pull back and up into the atmosphere. He's the one that decided that how Plo Koon would die. he was responsible for a lot of like the more gritty death scenes in Star Wars, in this original Star Wars saga. And to be honest, I'm surprised I never thought of that before. It's one of those things that shouldn't come to your head, but you're immediately like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that, because George Lucas tended to shy away from the darker, like actual gritty, dark parts of the prequels. And he just kind of lightly implied all the fucked up stuff. Like, we see Anakin cut down one Tusken Raider.
It's like, oh yeah.
We just hear him talking about how he killed them all.
It's amazing how much story George tells through dialogue when he's very bad at telling stories through dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like the good telling story through dialogue. It's offhanded mentions of shit that we should have seen.
There's only one good, hey, here's a story through dialogue scene in the entire first 6 movies, and that is because Ian McDiarmid is super extra. Like, crazy extra, and we love him for it.
Ian McDiarmid is my favorite fucking part of this movie.
He's so fucking good.
The Palpatine Yoda duel is one of my favorite parts of this movie.
Ugh.
Because it's just so fucking ridiculous.
I hate that duel so much. But again, it's one of those things where I've watched it 3 times in the last however many months since June. And now it's just funny to me because I've watched it so many times.
The thing, it's not the duel itself that I find entertaining. It's the acting within the duel that I just fucking adore.
Do you notice in the scene where Yoda comes in to meet Sidious?
Yes.
Have you ever looked really close at his eyes?
No?
So they try to do the thing that they do in Empire, just not as well because the room's more lit, where like all you can see is his eyes through the hood. But they put like yellow lenses or something into his eyes, and they're cross-eyed. Like, one is perfectly center, one is looking down to the right. And it's amazing. It's amazing, and it doesn't go away until they get into the Senate building itself. He's like, you cannot stop me, and he's just like looking in a random direction.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
Is that what we want to call that?
Yes.
I also love the fact that Palpatine straight up tries to make a break for the fucking door.
Yeah.
Like, Palpatine is scared shitless of Yoda at the beginning of this duel.
It's like, I hate that duel a lot because I was sitting there and I was having an existential crisis because all I keep saying about Yoda in other duels in the prequels was, well, one of many existential crises. All I keep saying is that why doesn't he use the Force more? And this is the duel where he uses the Force, and I was like, why don't I like this? I discovered 2 reasons. One, everything is so fucking flat with CGI that you can't tell what's going on most of the time unless you really are paying attention. And 2, it just kind of ends. Like, it's not that long, and then Yoda just kind of falls and, like, scratches a little bit and hits the ground, and then he's like, well, I'm leaving now.
That's how everything happens in Star Wars. It just ends. The movies, the games, the expanded universe. It just, you blink and it's over.
But like, again, like all of these years, the biggest jumping the shark moment in like all of Star Wars, and I don't know why it is. It just is Palpatine hanging with one hand, this old man just cackling like fucking crazy. It's like, I don't know why, but that is such like, that is the Ian McDiarmid moment that makes me go, all right, we're getting kind of silly here. But this time I laughed at it.
That's the moment.
Everything's funny now.
That's the moment where you go, my Space Wizard story is getting a little too crazy.
Also, I love how we are not even halfway through our second rotation, and we're already casually talking about existential crises.
I also love how we've reached a point so quickly where we're casually just shitting all over this franchise.
I mean, I knew that wasn't going to take
Like,
long.
we're
That
just-
was going to be from the start.
It's
Yeah.
the most casual, like, fuck this.
It's from a place of love
Is it?
sometimes. But fucking Ian McDermott's fucking when Yoda grabs the thing with the Force and starts spinning it, seeing Ian McDermott just fucking bunny hop off of the platform is my fucking favorite moment.
His eyes are still cross-eyed in that scene.
There's a lot of just great Palpatine in this movie. Like,
Oh,
it's
it's-
high camp. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I saw
Well,
Josh talking about it earlier with, the one fucking scene with, like, Anakin and Palpatine, where it's just other than the do it scene, there's the yeah.
I brought it up. I brought it up on another platform because I never thought it would come up on this podcast because I never hear anybody talk about it. I've been
Oh my
looking
god, I
for
laugh so hard every time.
I'm glad it's not just me. I've been looking for a gif of him just going "Geh," for
It's
like
the most
years.
excited sound. It's just like he's so.
It's so fucking good. Like,
I can't handle this.
And still, Anakin didn't realize from the first scene of this fucking movie that he's evil.
so here's another thing that I was thinking about this watch. I get that we're kind of like, oh, how does he not believe this? This is so hokey. You should realize that he's not right. We don't take into account that it's already been established that since the time he was 10, this man has been as much a father to him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's a little nitpicky. Except, here's the moment where, to me, it all just kind of falls apart, and it's like, how the fuck are you not realizing this? And it's Anakin's willingness at the end of the story of Darth Plagueis to look at the man that he has never thought had any Force ability whatsoever and go, is it possible to learn this power? Because he's literally looking at a man that his entire life he's just thought to be a senator, and he hears all of this, and it's like, okay, maybe he just heard the story. But he's so willing to jump in. Like, how would he know that?
Well, I said that the first rotation in episode 3 of, like, right after that story should have been the moment of, like, hey, how do you know this? Why is this something you know?
It's not just that he's not like, man, that was really suspicious that he knew that, this ancient Sith legend that shouldn't exist. It's more like he was like, yeah, fuck it. Do you know how to do this? This sounds fucking rad.
It's not only that he didn't question it, but he wanted to know how to do it.
And I cannot stress this enough, from a man that he thinks has no Force ability whatsoever.
Well, also, you can't use the excuse for, I mean, yes, with the EU, and I don't even know how much of it's current canon anymore.
Way more in the current canon.
Well, that's the thing, though.
They go into more detail on it.
You can't use that as an excuse because half the fucking people watching these movies never read a single one of the books.
That's fair.
So, to people watching the movies, Obi-Wan even says at one point, like, oh, you've been spending a lot of time with him lately. Like, so it's basically implied, like, no, you just kind of started hanging out with him. It's not, they really should have done a better job of explaining, like, no, Anakin has spent a lot of time with him. Because if you're looking at it just from the movies, it's like, yeah, Anakin has started hanging out with Palpatine now, and now it's getting suspicious. Well,
I mean, like, it's hinted at in Attack of the Clones, but never to an extent where...
Yeah. It's never overt, like, hey, we should really get you away from that senator who's taking you to alien strip clubs.
I forgot I mentioned that canon arc. It's my favorite thing. He, like... I have to reread that comic at some point because it's just like it's bad shit. Oh.
This watch through made me realize, I don't know if you guys have ever seen A Bronx Tale.
I have not.
Basically, the whole story is this young kid in New York witnesses a mob boss kill another guy. And so the mob boss ends up taking this kid under his wing, and his actual dad hates it.
Yeah.
But, like, this kid looks up to the mob boss as a father. It dawned on me watching this time that, like, oh, Anakin is the kid.
Yeah.
Palpatine is Sonny, who's the mob boss, and Obi-Wan is, like, actual dad.
Yeah.
And just the more I watched it, the more it clicked. And it was, like, the most uncomfortable epiphany I've ever had.
Oh. I mentioned, I think in episode 6, because I watched the Chosen One documentary, that they gutted, like, the entire Mace and Palpatine duel, like, the weekend before the Monday they filmed. And that included, like, the scene, which I will reiterate, how the fuck was that scene shorter where he falls? I can't understand that. But they also gutted the duel itself that they had been rehearsing between 2 stunt doubles because George wanted more close-ups. Because why wouldn't you want more close-ups with Ian McDiarmid? But that meant that they had to train Ian McDiarmid and Sam Jackson to do some stuff they didn't originally plan to. And it kind of shows in the duel, but it kind of works. It works for what it is. But they're talking about wonderful Nick Gillard, who's the stunt director. They're talking about him, and they're talking about how it shows his genius, because there's a stunt documentary in this one. It shows that his genius, that he's more than able to convince actors to get outside of their comfort zone and try some new things. Like, they show Sam Jackson. Like, Sam Jackson wasn't originally supposed to personally fall off. It would be a stunt double, and Nick Gillard was apparently like, the fuck are you doing? You can do that. And then they spent like 2 hours of Sam just falling off. But here's the thing. They talk about how he's such a genius and able to redo an entire duel to make it fit for them. And it looked amazing. And as they're talking about this, they are showing the side shot of the part in the duel where they just, like, rush forward and just do the children clank, clank, left, right, lightsaber move, where they just meet them. Okay, you go on the left side, I'll meet you on the right side. You go on the right side, I'll meet you on the left side. Let's do that 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
While they're talking about how much of a genius he is. And I'm like, did someone not like Nick Gillard? Like, that wasn't the shot to you.
My God.
The juxtaposition is comedy gold.
Fucking Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, though. I know it's so easy to nitpick the actual, like, sword play.
No, don't do this.
But it's fucking amazing.
That is the only duel where somebody punches somebody else in the face. I will not have it judged. It is the only duel in the entire saga where somebody's like, well, lightsaber, no, I just need you to get away, punch.
But Josh, it's just a bunch of left, right.
Yeah, but at least it's left, right from other positions. It's not like... like,
you listen to me, it's left, right, but over here.
Listen, if you can't appreciate that they do the pirate swinging thing that they do in all swashbuckler movies, but with a falling fucking piece of a space station over a lava pit, I don't know what to tell you. You just don't enjoy fun.
Oh my God, that's the other. I love how they're fighting and fucking they got the saber clash, and they twist, and it cuts down on the console exactly where, like, the heat shield was, so that they could happen to start fighting outside, so they could happen to float on the rubble while it's on
So
the
good.
lava lake.
Yeah, but if you look at it like that, it's going to ruin the whole thing. It's like, oh, well, they went out there after they accidentally did this thing and it falls and they're just doing their best.
Oh, you're right, Josh. We can't ruin anything about these movies
it's
at
not.
all.
It's not that I'm saying you're ruining it. I'm saying you're thinking, oh, it just so happens that they did this thing, so that just so happens, so that just so happens. No, it's like cause and effect. Oh, you fucked this up. Oh, you're going out there. It's not like...
No, what it is I want them to fight on a lava lake. So how can we get them to the lava lake?
Fuck it.
And
I'm fine with
it. Let it be known, I fucking love it.
And I will say, and I think this is kind of controversial, the Battle of Heroes theme is my favorite piece of John Williams' work. That theme is so fucking good. And it does not get the same respect as Duel of the Fates or Binary Sunset or the Forest theme, and I wish it would.
I will say it's no Binary Sunsets, but it bops.
It bops.
I have no opinion on the music of Star Wars.
Now, I don't believe that.
Hold on here, Chris.
You are the John Williams of Star Wars every week forever, and you have no opinions?
I mean, I'm not. I've never. John Williams is fantastic. The music is great, but I don't get crazy about it.
Chris and I are going to become mortal enemies this day.
I mean, I enjoy it. I don't notice like the little thing. Like I can only pick out a few of the actual like, songs in Star Wars. The musical compositions.
That's entirely fair.
It's not something I've.
Because there's songs that are meant to be noticed and there's songs that are not meant to be noticed.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if you ask me what do I prefer, like if you ask me who is the sound person on Star Wars that you respect, I would say Ben Burtt, because Ben Burtt made me passionate about film in a way that nobody else has.
I will say, on my my personal, like my Me Spotify playlist, I have the Cantina Band song, and you better believe whenever that comes on, I put my stereo at full blast and roll the windows down so everyone knows what's going on.
One of my favorite meme images is it says songs to make love to, and it's just the Cantina Band theme on repeat, like all the way down the playlist. And I think about that meme every fucking day.
Or Duel of the Fates. My God.
Oh, we're losing our fucking minds.
So on the first...
We're doing it with people we love, Chris.
We're losing our fucking minds.
Speaking of losing our fucking minds, we talked on the first episode of the podcast about Jar Jar on blue screen and what Ahmed Best had to do like in order to interact with the actors. It gets somewhat better and somewhat worse on Revenge of the Sith. So Jar Jar comes out with the group that is meeting with Palpatine to talk with Mace. And there is a very brief shot shown, it could not be more than 3 seconds, of all the actors around that with Palpatine in one of the special features, God knows which one. And they just, the high cuff, the like high turtleneck or whatever that like comes up around his neck, his entire head is inside of that. And the only thing that is visible on the entire body of Ahmed Best, other than the fabric, is the Jar Jar helmet. And I'm like, well, the original Jar Jar was pretty horrifying when you looked at him on set. That's more horrifying to me.
My God.
I want to bring up Grievous once and only once because I don't want to ever talk about General Grievous again because I have made it my thing and I don't.
We're doing this forever. What the fuck do you mean you don't
say, well, Josh, I got some bad news.
I got some really bad news. Yeah.
So the Magna Guards, the note started out by saying I think the Magna Guards are kind of cool, and I wouldn't have minded like the droidicas if they got used again. And then I started watching the doc on how General Grievous was made, and they were making that before the script was out, so he was just kind of like, make me another bad. Just make me another bad. He's a general. Go.
You, art people, make bad person now.
I-
Be robot.
He is general. No, not even robot. Not even robot. He's just like,
general.
he is general. Make. So like everybody made all these things, and he put, maybe it can be a droid is the most that George said. But like there were like 1,001. Somebody made like an angel with like a lightsaber scythe, and that was pretty cool. Somebody made like a kid, just like the villain is a kid. And when that was put on the wall, George just pointed at it and said, "Somebody's a parent." And they all did like the polite clap and laugh.
Oh my god.
And then the final design was the Magna Guard. General Grievous was going to be the Magna Guard.
Oh shit.
And then some dumb motherfucker was like, I had this half completed, I had like this sketch of something that I didn't finish. A week later finishes it and goes to George and says, here's one of the extra designs on the daily. Consider it. And he's like, that's the one, and then these guys can just be droids. And I wish they had just done the Magna Guard. I really wish they had just done the Magna Guard.
I actually do have a note about the Magna Guards.
Yes, please.
That now that I've noticed this will piss me off to no end, and I hope it has the same effect. So, when they're fighting on Grievous's ship, the Invisible Hand, Obi-Wan cuts off the head of the Magna Guard and goes to walk away, but the Magna Guard's still alive and fighting him, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And he still like fights him. He ends up like cutting it totally in half, and he wins. When Obi-Wan goes to Utapau, there's Magna Guards there. Obi-Wan runs up to him and just cleaves off one of the heads, and it just collapses.
Okay, but he drops a giant a block on them, and then it tries to come out from under the block, and then he cuts off the
No,
head.
it doesn't go under the block.
I have to watch this.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty
just
sure he
did.
just walks over and decapitates it.
We just watched it.
I mean, to be fair,
See you again in 9 weeks.
I watched it on Sunday. It's been a while.
I watched it. I have to admit, I had to watch this in 2 sittings
That's fair.
because I had a crazy week with work and stuff outside of the control of most things, and I was watching it last night. And I watched the Yoda Palpatine duel, and then I woke up to the Obi-Wan Anakin duel, and I was like, oh, I'm tired. So I had to finish watching Star Wars. Totally not at work today. Definitely was not doing that while I was at work. Totally not. If you're listening, I totally wasn't doing that.
So the other thing, in that exact same scene, the regular droids from episode 1 are just so insufficient by the time this movie comes out that they're basically just like 1,000 little Jar Jars played for comedy.
I love the B1s, though. They're so great.
There is a scene... a small bit where they're just kind of like cleaning up the bridge so that they can get control of it. And there's just one B1 droid that's like kind of off to the side. That's like one of the last remaining. While I think it's while the shackles are being released from Palpatine. And Anakin just does the lightest like jog over to it like 30 feet extremely slowly and just cuts it in half. It's like the least motion I've ever seen in a Star Wars movie of just him. Like, it was slower than Obi-Wan fighting Vader in episode 4. It was just like, oh, I will get there eventually. Okay, slash.
It's like everyone was so checked out at that point. It's just, all right, I gotta go fucking cut that one up now. Fucking, I'll get there. I also love B2 battle droids are supposed to be like big and scary, which in most Star Wars media they are. I remember playing Republic Commando as a kid, and
Yeah.
when you saw those motherfuckers, you were scared. R2 just arsons the shit out of two of them.
That's one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie because Obi-Wan is talking so much shit.
Yeah.
Like that droid's useless and he's fucking murdering 2 battle droids.
I will say this movie's way more jokey than any of the other George films. Like, just the comedy per 10 minutes is just higher than all the other films. It's like they tried to fit it in there wherever they could because they knew this was the dark episode, which they repeat like a million times in the special features.
It's like you said last rotation. This is the high camp Star Wars episode.
Yep. Yeah.
And fucking, I love it. It's just
very good.
You have Yoda walking into Palpatine's office making all sorts of fucking jokes as he's about to fight the Dark Lord of the fucking Sith.
See, that's it's funny to watch this now with the new trilogy because that's been one of my biggest complaints about the new trilogy. It's like they tried to shoehorn in. Like, I'm fine with humor. I wish there was a little bit more humor in Star Wars a lot of the time, but this one is able to do it in a way that still feels like it's in universe and makes sense. Whereas the new trilogy has a fucking phone hold gag.
I do feel the new trilogy kind of goes a little way out of the way to try and put jokes in there where they don't really belong.
Here's what I would say. This movie does comedy better than the sequel trilogy because they know where to put it. All of the other 5 other George movies do comedy way worse than the sequel trilogy. It's just not in there as much to be noticeable.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think you're kind of on your own on that one, Josh.
No, I would say that's true, especially coming off of Attack of the Clones. There is not one funny fucking moment in that entire movie, and it's a lot of comedy.
Obi-Wan dives out of the window. Have you seen that?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, that one. But, like, that's not meant to be funny. That's accidentally funny.
Are you sure?
That's fair. Like, the reason why he jumps out the window isn't directly for comedy. Whereas again, I would rather fucking die than... Like, I would rather fucking die than hear 3PO in that movie even once more, ever.
I'd much rather hear 3PO in that movie than hear They Fly Now ever again for the
Why
rest
isn't
of my
that
life.
line, Ben?
It's really
just
bad.
They say one line like 4 times,
Yep.
and they're just like, laugh. And I'm like, no.
I don't know. There's a props department guy named Ty Teeger, who I've never seen in the special features up until this moment, who's like in charge of it. And there's one guy that works on the molds of the blaster rifles, like puts them all together and is kind of showing off the different weights of them. And he's like, this one is styrofoam. And Ty Teeger, the head of the department, like picks it out of his hand and breaks it over his knee. He's like, see, styrofoam. And the guy who has to put in the work for that looks so fucking angry. It's like silent rage and can't let it out on this guy. And I was like, you poor man.
Oh,
You poor man.
that's terrible.
I have to get this out somewhere, so I'll just throw it in here.
Do it.
George Lucas's memory of, like, anything Star Wars is fucking abhorrent.
How so? Like the continuity or like the production?
Yes.
Oh.
So in the episode 2 special features, I noticed this a lot, but it's also apparent here. You know, you get this from the production staff, and it's entirely fair, where they mispronounce the names of planets because the actual pronunciation hasn't been decided a little bit into the movies until, like, actors are pronouncing them. But George Lucas not only refers to Naboo as Naboo and and so on and so forth. He mispronounces Hoth as Hoth like 7 times in
What?
the year 2003. He comes out and Anakin's lightsaber has been like molded. It's like the primary one that's not styrofoam, that's not rubber. It's like the prop one. And he comes out and he's kind of like, oh, that looks good. Is this the one from the last film? Okay, good. And just keeps on walking. I'm like, you don't remember the fucking primary prop from the first fucking film?
I mean, to be fair, they probably had like 10 versions of it.
I guess, but like, here, okay, so he walks in on the Wookiee area where they're making the new Wookiee suits, and he points out one of the random Wookiees. I think it's Tarful, actually, and he just points at it and
call Tarful one of the random Wookiees.
Okay, all right.
I will rip your arms off.
He points at Tarful, I believe, and he goes. He goes, that's not Chewbacca, is it?
Oh, George.
That's the most aggression I've ever heard from Ben in all the time I've known him. That was the most aggressive. It was so aggressive.
Chris and I on this podcast have literally threatened to murder each other, but it's that makes Ben angry.
Oh my god.
But
Chris
yeah,
is just so easy to break today.
There's a lot. There's a lot. This is the problem with the prequels, especially when it comes to special features. I could talk about the special features forever, but I don't want to drown everything out.
Sorry, I think Chris is thankful for that for the time being.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Chris is the first one to fall so deeply into madness.
I mean, I was halfway there. It's not all Star Wars' fault.
Well, yeah, but we were all kind of on our way there. Chris just hopped in the fast lane.
So I'm going to be a dick, and I'm going to bring this up on the podcast, so there's a record of it.
No.
We had a discussion on Discord the other day, and I wanted to be on the podcast. There's one special feature that you're not watching, Josh.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Motherfucker, I hate you.
And
I hate you. I will come,
That is correct,
I will come
Chris.
to you and I will strangle you to death myself. I told you that I would put it off until next week, maybe.
That's a big maybe, Josh.
Sounds like a big maybe.
There is on the Blu-ray special features an hour-and-a-half documentary on the fan group, the 501st. None of you seem to realize how much time I put into this podcast right now.
Oh, no, I do.
I also do.
Yeah, you know, because I already explained it to you this week. I get up one day and I start editing the podcast for 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes 5 if the audio problems are pretty bad. I move on from there to watch the movie, and then that night, usually until pretty late at night, I start watching special features. I get up the next day, all I do for the rest of the day is watch special features. Then another couple days goes by, or no days, and I get up and I put up the podcast, and I deal with all the bullshit I have to do to put up the podcast. The night before, I have to go ahead and edit in the bio. And then one day passes without me dealing with the podcast, and then the next day, usually, I have to fucking record the podcast, and the cycle begins again.
So much faster as you were doing that rant. You kept getting faster and faster. Like somebody was speeding up a fucking cassette tape.
This is partially on me, because I took this on. And I'm so thankful we're through the prequels, because this is where it was going to be a pain in the ass. But the 501st doc has nothing to do with the movies. Why should I have to watch an hour-and-a-half documentary on a fan cast that has nothing to do with the movies? I don't want to.
Listen.
I had to watch a mockumentary at R2-D2 that took up 45 minutes of my life. Why are you doing this to me?
Oh God!
I just wanted to I just wanted to make sure that you were as broken as I was by the end of this episode.
You're a bastard.
I think we have all had our angry rants today, except for Chris, who is just in general broken today.
So
I'm just here to watch it all burn.
So
for the record, I love the 501st.
I'm not making fun of the 501st. I just don't want to watch an hour and a
It's
half.
okay, Josh. It's
about
okay.
them.
You don't have to watch the documentary about them. It's all right. We get it. You deeply
No, I
dislike
gotta
them.
fucking do it now.
And-
I gotta do it now.
and
Motherfucker.
you don't think they were worthy of having a documentary made about them. It's
I'm
fine.
going.
I understand.
Here's the thing
Not
you don't
gonna make you
understand
do it.
right. Here's the thing you don't understand right now. I watched an hour documentary this week that I absolutely did not have to. That was some side project about the science of Star Wars. I didn't bring it up once because it had nothing to do with the fucking movie. You don't understand. You genuinely have no idea. This was just shoved in the fucking Blu-ray as we're not going to put anything prequel related in. So they kind of talk about the prequels here. So here.
Now, if I remember correctly from my copy of the DVD of Revenge of the Sith, there's an hour-long Star Wars Battlefront 2 demo on the DVD. Did you play that hour-long
No, because it's
demo?
not an actual documentary. It's not Battlefront 2. Maybe it is Battlefront 2. I don't
It's
know. How
Battlefront
the
2,
fuck
yeah.
was I supposed to play that, Chris?
But
Oh.
I will say, it is a special feature.
You both.
I gotta stop.
go-
Josh
you have to
knows
go
where I
play-
actually live. I
You have
might
to go
not
play
wake
Star
up
Wars
from-
Battlefront 2 for an hour, Josh, in order for your homework to be done.
I know you have it. I bought it for you on Steam.
Yeah.
This was all a part of the plan.
I'm not doing it. I will watch the 501st documentary, but I'm not playing this fucking demo.
I love how that's where you draw the line.
I don't even know how I would play it. Because in order for it to make up and your skewed to work and your skewed vision, I have to find a way to play it off of the DVD.
Yes.
So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go to the Star Wars sites that no longer exist from the links on the DVD?
No, it's you insert the DVD. and
No, you don't
play it off
understand.
of it.
There are literal links to photo campaign things that used to have like content on them that are gone to the annals of the internet now.
Oh,
I can't go.
that sounds like a problem that you have to solve, Josh. I don't know what to tell you.
Jesus
That
Chris.
sounds like a you problem.
Chris, as much as I love this, I don't want to actually be complicit in a homicide.
No, I'm not. I'll just keep it in mind. That's all.
God, Josh is already exacting his revenge. He's plotting as we speak.
So let's end this on like semi-interesting and funny note rather than me being angry because you decided to call me out on not watching a documentary about the 501st Legion.
That was gonna happen either way. I was waiting for my
Which,
turn.
by the way, I could have watched either this week or episode 6 because either would have worked congruently, but whatever. Because it's not like it's about one specific movie. I just scheduled it on my fucking 9-page. I gotta stop.
Well, I got everything I needed out of this.
Chris is just absolutely miserable, just waiting
you.
for the moment to pounce on Josh.
So this is kind of conspiracy theory, but I don't think it is. There's some solid evidence. So Ewan was very, very which, by the way, let me start it out with this. We don't give Hayden Christensen enough credit in comparison to Ewan in regards to being an amazing like lightsaber stuntman duelist. He went to a boot camp that Ewan did not go to work through that final battle from day one before production even started, like where he would work 8 hours a day, and it was ridiculous. We should kind of hold them on similar terms because that's fucking insane, and he did not have to do that, and he was not paid for that, as far as I know. But Ewan, throughout the entire prequels, was very specific about his lightsaber. They have said now through 2 movies that they have tried to give him new lightsabers and he won't use them.
Jesus.
So this obviously he has to use the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Ben Kenobi lightsaber.
Yeah.
I don't think he used them in the duels. So they showed like the prop lightsabers, and they showed the episode 2 lightsaber, which is pretty much the same as the episode 1 lightsaber, but the like design is slightly different, but it's the same construction. The ball on the bottom is a little bit bigger. It basically was just like, hey, let's make sure his hands can fit to this fine. I don't think he used the Alec Guinness lightsaber in his fights, because if you like look at the props, the Alec Guinness lightsaber has like this long, long shaft that like kind of
my attention.
kind of becomes skinny and then slowly blossoms into the lightsaber on the top and then ignites. If you look at his hands, like the majority of the fight, you cannot see that. So I get the feeling they like made it smaller so that he basically used the same lightsaber he did in all 3 movies. I bring this up because I don't think Disney knows that. And if they try to give Ewan a different lightsaber, I am fascinated by what would happen.
I do think he
hilarious.
used the Alec Guinness design in some fights at least.
No, he used it in a lot of scenes, but I don't think he used them in the fights.
I was able to pick it out during the Anakin Obi-Wan duel.
Okay, bring it up for me. We'll pause the podcast, bring it up for me, because if you look at it, it's shortened. I'm not saying he used the same lightsaber. I'm saying they redesigned it to fit his hand so he could use it in a duel. And so that it's basically the same lightsaber, but it just has a little thingy on the top that's way smaller than it should be. Because, like, there's promotional pictures with him with the regular lightsaber, but if you, like, look at his hands, and if you look at the prop lightsaber, it's, like, 2 inches shorter than it should be. And
I know during the Anakin Obi-Wan duel, the emitter and the top section are the Alec Guinness lightsaber.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I answer your question?
Is it on a close-up?
Yes.
There you go.
While they're in a bind.
There you go. Because keep in mind, this is the same man that redesigned the entire Palpatine and Mace duel so that he could get close-ups of the actors' faces.
Oh, that's Anakin screaming. I fast forwarded right to the med bay with Anakin getting like skin picked off of him.
What you need to look at is the lightsaber outside of close-ups, and we'll never know because there's no way of knowing. But like, I assume when they're trying to get an actor's reaction, he's holding the Ewan one, or the Alec Guinness one. But I don't think that's the one he's using when it's actually dueling.
I'm gonna dig this up.
Feel free.
This is like a strange technical thing that we've now stumbled onto that is going to drive you nuts.
I didn't mean to bring it up as a technical thing. I meant to bring it up because it would be funny to see Ewan's reaction when he's like, I can't use the lightsaber that you want me to use on the TV show. I will not use that trash. Bring me the episode 1 lightsaber slightly redesigned so it fits my hands. Because they even said on the set, we've tried to give him new lightsabers. He always notices. And I'm like...
They tried to fucking like goof him into it. This is something I'll have to dig into.
Yeah, and who can blame him? If he's doing his own stunts, let him use whatever makes him comfortable. But the thought is amusing to me. If he uses a lightsaber on the Disney Plus show, I have a feeling it won't be, he'll make them redesign it, or he'll just not be as good as he usually is because he's a little bit off. But still, ideally, it's just the Cheers show, but Ben Kenobi.
On the topic of lightsabers, can we talk about how fucking Palpatine keeps a laser sword that can pierce anything just in his fucking sleeve at all times.
Palpatine's design choices are so fucking bizarre in this trilogy. Do you notice how much older he looks in Attack of the Clones than in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how anything about him works. I thought he was a shapeshifter as a kid because everything's so all over the place. Like, I remember on a Christmas day not long after Revenge of the Sith, like, probably the year Revenge of the Sith came out, I was saying to my uncle, I'm pretty sure he's a shapeshifter. He's like, what makes you think he's a shapeshifter? I'm like, I don't know. Like, he looks different from each movie, like, hugely. And he's like, well, from the first movie to the second movie, there's a long period of time that went past. I'm like, I know, but he looks younger in the third movie. So maybe, like, when he got, like, the lightning on him, he just kind of shapeshifted to make himself look hurt because it, like, came out of his... So that's where my head was at.
Oh, okay. Fun fact. In the old canon, I believe it was, so Palpatine, by default, looks how he looks post-lightning. And he used Sith alchemy to look like a normal fucking person.
I mean, yeah, with that cross eye, you kind of want to get that looked at.
And apparently, Mace shooting the lightning back at him undid the Sith lightning for space wizard reasons.
Hey, I was right. Kid me was right.
So, Kid Josh was indeed correct.
And, well, I don't know how that could be canon now, though.
Well, we also don't know when Plagueis dies anymore, so, like, all of Palpatine's
and, like,
is
he dies in Rise of Skywalker from his own lightning.
Yeah, I also don't believe 100% Palpatine can voluntarily turn his own lightning off.
Yeah.
Because every time he uses it, he ends up getting shocked by it, which I don't know why he uses it, because every time it gets fired back at him. But every time he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep on zapping. And, like, in the Yoda duel, they're, like, right in front of each other, and he's just zapping until they explode. And he's, like, screaming the whole time.
Since we decided to publicly shame me about the documentary, can I talk, like, for a couple minutes on this fucking science documentary? I do have notes. I didn't think I would bring it up, but now I am forcing myself to bring it up. Can I please do this?
Do it. Do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just a couple things, real quick. This documentary was about 45 minutes. It was obviously not made by Star Wars. It was obviously done on TV. And it was just like scientists kind of comparing what was plausible and what wasn't. The funniest thing about the doc is the scientists talk about how realistic the Death Star is, and like how something that size could conceivably travel long distances with very little power because of the gravity of its turning, allowing it to create its own power. And it, like, small propulsion systems can push it forward without ever bringing up that it's a moon-sized space station that they would have had to build. They talk about this at, like, the 10-minute mark, and then at, like, the 40-minute mark, they bring back up the Death Star because they obviously can't talk about how unrealistic the Death Star laser is compared to the Death Star. So, like, for a long period of this documentary, you're meant to believe, oh, maybe the Death Star can happen. The other one.
Totally skirt around the actual, you know, death laser mounted on a moon-sized fucking hunk of metal.
They said that the lightsaber is plausible, but the most effective way to use it would be to mail it to your opponent and turn it on with remote control, because it would be that hot, and it would be unable to, like, control itself. And now I want those Star Wars movies.
Well, there's a There's a guy on YouTube. I'll try to remember. I follow him. I'll try to get you the link before this episode goes up.
Yes, please.
He fully built, because before the Jedi used lightsabers in the Star Wars universe, they used proto-sabers.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
had,
the pack on the side.
Yeah, with
that,
a backpack with a wire, and it was essentially just a super heated up piece of metal.
Yeah.
Back when the strategy was cut the cord leading to the battery pack and you win the duel.
Yeah,
that was actually what they did.
I mean,
but some guy on YouTube fully fucking made one.
Yep.
That worked, and it was glorious and terrifying at the same time.
Sparks flying off the top of it.
oh,
I was really worried for his safety the whole time, but he's just cutting through shit and fucking walking around and
oh god,
I did see the same video.
I need to see this.
Well, it's not like, instead of like what would have been in Star Wars, like a plasma blade or whatever, it's just a piece of metal that they heat the fuck out of.
Yep, they heat it till it's completely glowing and cuts through fucking metal and shit.
That's really cool, and probably it would have been way cooler if like something like that was in Star Wars, as far as the scientific bullshit. But I really just want male bomber Star Wars. So it was a weapon up from a more civilized age. We would mail it to our enemy, and it would just blow them the hell up like Dr. Manhattan in Zack Snyder's shitty Watchmen movie.
Oh my god. Fucking when Obi-Wan kills Grievous.
Fucking Grievous again. We're here. We've got a second one in there.
So Obi-Wan is on the ledge, and he has the blaster, and he goes pew pew, and Grievous is like, oh no, my insides are on fire, and now outsides.
I mean, to be fair, I thought that was cool. Like, it's the only cool thing they do with Grievous. Like,
no, it's like awesome.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan then puts down the blaster, climbs up, picks up the blaster, looks at it, says, so uncivilized, and throws the blaster.
I was thinking about that scene when they were talking about the people that have to, like, keep track of the resets, the reshoots, and, like, meticulously watch the differences between shots. I was thinking, what? You didn't pick up on that one. I feel bad, but...
So he just puts it down, picks it up to throw it at nothing.
Okay. So this is my last note, and then we can get out, because last week was our shortest podcast. This one is going to be long. They talk about Vader and how it's conceivable at the time of that recording. Vader's kind of conceivable, and I'm fascinated with the places they go with it. For a while, they talk about Vader's diet and how he would get his nutrients through liquids, and they imply that he would probably have explosive diarrhea to the point that his body wouldn't be able to have it, but they don't outright say it. They entirely avoid talking about defecation or anything else. And then this one other woman, God bless her, comes up on the screen right after this and just flat out says that because of biological batteries, there is a battery that at the time of the documentary could be powered by pissing on it. Perhaps, and then says explicitly, so perhaps Vader's suit is being run by methods we don't want to know.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Little bit of trivia. Did you know that Darth Vader's suit has a fucking serial number? E3778Q1.
Leets? Oh no, 377.
It has a fucking serial number for absolutely no reason.
Also, that when the suit seizes up on him, Palpatine can call customer service and, excuse me, sir, do you have the serial number? Ah, yes, hold on. Lord Vader, turn around. I need to...
Also, like, did Palpatine have the suit just waiting in the wings? Because he didn't think that Anakin was going to get fucked up the way he did by Obi-Wan.
Or did he? We don't know what Palpatine fucking thinks in these goddamn movies.
Oh, no, man. We're trying to end the episode, and you're presenting me with something that I have a lot of lore on.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have to come
There's
back
a
to
lot of
this
lore on Vader's
during
suit.
the OT, because that we can get
'Cause,
into
like,
the nitty gritty. Because I have a lot I
you're-
want to talk about there too.
You're inviting me in to talk about how all of Vader's suit is asymmetrical in the original trilogy. And it's like, we gotta end this fucking
Remind
podcast
me-
at some point, guys.
Remind me next episode to talk about the lore on Vader's suit. The current new lore on Vader's suit.
Okay.
Oh no, I might know some of this, but anyway, thank you all for listening.
Lord Vader, kneel down. I have to scan the barcode on the back of your neck.
Shakti gets killed twice in this movie in the deleted scenes, one of which has no audio other than just her going, Anakin, what is it? And then getting stabbed and then him walking out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Shakti is the most murdered character in all of Star Wars.
2 times in the deleted scenes. Thank you for listening to Star Wars Every Week Forever. God bless you for listening to it. We'll see you next week for the first episode of the original trilogy. Goodbye.
Okay, so this week, on my trend of recommending things, I am recommending Star Wars Battlefront 2, which Josh should totally play as part of his special feature rundown.
You make me so fucking angry. This
I
is supposed to be
adore
your
this
bit, and you're
game.
gonna do this to me right now. That's it. We're done. We're done. We're done.